Morning po.
Good morning. Ba't naman parang galit sa iyo yung picture?
Cute nga eh.
Good morning. Clear ang audio ko. Okay. Ah, sige, start tayo. Ilan kayo? 40. Tatlo wala. Hindi ako mag-attendance. Ah, okay. Ah, kita niyo yung shared screen ko?
Yes po.
Okay. Bilis lang to. Bilis lang ulit. Okay. Um, last time, diniscuss natin yung price factors affecting price of oil and gas. Ngayon naman, uh, sa investor side, ano naman yung mga economic indicators which would tell us if our investment is good or hindi. Ano? So may mga economic indicators na tinitingnan which is i-discuss natin in advance kung yung investment ba na gagawin natin in the long run or in long term ay kikita tayo o hindi. Kung hindi, so dapat natin i-review natin uh, lahat ng factors ulit bago tayo mag-invest sa business. Okay. So first is yung NPV o yung net present value. Owning net present value. Simply, ito yung difference. No? Review lang naman ulit nito. Difference between present value of cash inflow minus present value of cash outflow over a period of time. Okay, so paano natin masabi na uh, good yung net present value? What is a good NPV? So, uh, net present value is good if it is greater than zero. Pag greater than zero, ibig sabihin, kung mag-i-invest tayo, say for example, maaari tayong kumita. Laki yung probability in chance na tayo kikita kung magkakaroon tayo ng profit pabalik. So, NPV calculation accounts other factors like cost capital, and opportunity costs. So, based sa definition dito, it takes into account timing of future cash flow, and it is highly dependent on discount rate. So that's net present value. Example of net present value. So an investor made an investment of $500 in property and gets back 570 the next year. If the rate of return is 10%, calculate the net present value. Therefore, for a 10% rate of return, um, ano muna yung cash ulit, i-define natin yung net present value to get the net present value. Difference between present value of cash inflow minus cash outflow over a period of time. Say, so ang cash inflow natin is yung 570. Outflow, which is invest natin, is 500. So we will get $70. No? $70 times next year na a period of time n is 1 and rate of return is 10%. So calculating the net present value, pag minus nyo lang 70 times dahil ang rate of return ay 10% times 0.1 ng 70. We will get the rate at 10% rate of return investment is NPV is $18.18. So example lang naman to. So ibig sabihin dahil ang NPV value is greater than zero, ibig sabihin profitable yung magiging investment. Next is IRR. What is IRR? Internal rate of return. So internal rate of return, no IRR. IRR ay rate of return lang naman on an investment lang. Or IRR on an investment, siya yung nagbibigay ng uh, value sa NPV, net present value of greater than or equal or greater than or lower than zero. So IRR is calculated by trial and error. So nakalagay dito by definition. Could be difficult to calculate dahil trial and error ang ginagamit sa pag-calculate ng IRR. So in simple terms, no, um, Pagka mataas yung IRR, ibig sabihin, it indicates successful investment. No? Pagka naman mababa yung IRR value, so yung investors should review and reconsider yung investment na gagawin nila. Okay, next. Payback period. Ano yung payback period? So, payback period refers to the amount of time it takes to recover the cost of an investment. Yun lang naman yun. Ano? So, um, uh, darating yung time, say, nag-invest tayo, okay, ang PV, IRR, and other economic indicators. Darating yung time na yung ininvest natin o yung capital na inilabas natin dahil kumikita na tayo, darating yung time na magpapantay yung capital o invested money natin dun sa kinita natin. Ang tawag dun ay break-even point. So from that break-even point, starting there, um, dahil parang nabawi na natin yung puhunan natin. From there, magsa-start na tayong magkaroon ng profit o ng tubo. Yun yung payback period. Ano? Yun yung start ng payback period. In simple terms, ano, yun yung length of time where an investment reaches, yun nga, yung break-even point. Ano? And from there, start na yung payback period. Up. So, dito sa other definition, sinasabi, it is easy to calculate and understand, and it ignores the timing or variations of cash flow before payback. So, payback period formula is initial investment over the annual cash flow. Okay, next economic indicator ay DPIR. So, ano yung DPIR? Um, Defined as the net cash flow of the project per dollar of capital investment. So, it is used as a quick first look investment criteria, excellent for ranking projects, and is highly dependent on discount rate. Okay, so basic principles of cash flow analysis. Review lang naman to ng engineering economics last sem. So basic principles includes alternatives like difference between cash flow and profit, treatment of depreciation, treatment of loans, interest on loans, and loan repayments. And so concepts on nominal and real cash flow, the way in which inflation can be incorporated. So, balik tayo sa basic definitions. Review lang. Capital cost, ano ibig sabihin? Ito yung money invested one time. Nilabas natin pera. Say for example, mag-invest tayo sa pagbili ng tanker, pag-construct ng pipeline, pagbili ng mga process facilities, pag-construct ng process facilities, camps, and other, like storage vessels. So, by definition, it is a one-time costs usually incurred at the beginning of the project. So, yung perang nilabas mo as investment for a project specific. Next, operating cost or yung OPEX. So, operating cost, tandaan nyo lang, pinagkaiba nyo sa CAPEX. No? Ang operating cost ay yung kailangan ng isang organization to sustain, to run the plant, sustaining the running plant, or sustaining to run the business. No? Ano yung mga nagsusustain para dire-diretso yung takbo ng isang business, ng isang organization? Manpower, yung bayad sa manpower, di ba? Hindi tatakbo ang isang business kung walang mga tao nagra-run nun. Yung bayad sa manpower, under siya ng operating cost. Okay, okay, malilito ha. Gagamitin nyo ito sa plant design. Ano pa? Yung maintenance cost na ginagamit nyo para i-maintain yung good working efficiency ng inyong mga machines that will fall under maintenance cost. So, hindi magiging stable ang run kung pasira-sira ang inyong mga machine, motor, pump. So, para dire-diretso ang takbo, kailangan ng maintenance of all those machines. Else, office, isang example is office overhead. So, sa office, for documentation, kahit kalit-liit ang bala ng stapler, kasama yan sa operating costs or sa operating expenditures. Okay. So, per year yung planning na. Okay. Next ay petroleum fiscal terms. Ito naman, sige, discuss naman natin ito mamaya in details, pero ito ay sa point of view ng government take in many projects involving international oil companies, um, ang government take on that, palagi dapat. So yun lagi ang point of view ng government. Palagi dapat may kikitain din ako. So kung ano ang kikitain mo, meron ako. Parang ganun. In many projects worldwide, government take is lagi over 50% of the net pre-tax cash flow. Examples is the royalty tax, profit sharing. So ito ay base agreement na nila, taxes, and joint venture service versus production sharing contracts. Okay, cash flow analysis. Next ay yung net cash flow. Para makuha yung net cash flow o yung profit o yung profit mo mismo. So yung ile-less mo dun sa marireceive mo cash yung capex or capital expenditure, operating expenditure, and royalties, taxes, and profit sharing. No? So ano pinagkaiba ng capital expenditure, capex, sa operating expenditure, sa OPEX? Yung capital expenditure ay yung mga one time ka lang mag invest. For example, paggawa ng building. So, it will fall under the capital expenditure. Kasi, pag nagawa na yung building, yun na yun. Para naman sa maintenance ng building, magpo-fall na yun under sa operating expenditure. So, lahat yung maintenance, yung, yun, yung mga pag-maintain ng mga electric lighting, air conditioning, lahat yan sa operating cost na. Ano pa ang example ng capital expenditure o yung one-time investment lang? Mostly, uh, pagbili ng mga equipment. Say, for example, bumili ako ng isang vessel, isang barko. So, one time ko lang siya binigyan ng investment. So, nakuha ko na yung barko. So, to maintain yung good running condition ng barko ko, so kailangan ko doon uh, ng gasoline o ng mga bunker fuel oil for operation para mapatakbo ko yung barko. So, it will fall under operating expenditure na. Ano? So, yun ha, yung difference niya. I-discuss din naman natin to in details pa. Banda dyan. Basta huwag kayong malilito dahil gagamitin nyo to sa plant design. Sa defense, pag magdi-defense kayo sa plant design, pag na-present nyo na yung inyong topic, introduction, process flow, lahat, material balance, energy balance, in the end, kung mali ang inyong uh, economic analysis sa inyong project, pag mali, no, makikita naman agad yan eh. Pag mali, walang silbi yung project mo. Uulit kayo. Kaya huwag kayong malilito ha. Sobrang halaga ng CAPEX, OPEX, and PV. No? So yung other economic indicators like IRR, rate of return no? Nyo. Ano? Okay, i-discuss naman natin yun. Other profit. Profit ay yun, cash received minus all na other expenses, no? Yung depreciated capex, opex, royalties, taxes. No? Basta yung, sa madaling sabi, yung tubo mo o yung kinita mo na linis na, tanggal na yung lahat ng kailangan mong bayaran. Tanggal na yung tax, tanggal na yung pinuhunan mo. Yun. Okay, tapos na pala. Tanong, proceed na tayo sa sunod na presentation. Okay. Kausap ko ba ako? Diyan pa kaya?
Opo.
Opo, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, 46. It's not wala. Okay, kita niyo ulit yung shared screen ka.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Nag-almusal na ka kayo. Ayun na mga kape. Okay. Challenges for oil and gas. Oh, last time na napasadahan naman natin yung challenges for oil and gas. But challenges siya in terms of uh, challenges, yung challenges na diniscuss natin last time ay directly affecting price of oil and gas. Ito naman, challenges for oil and gas on the legal and regulatory side. No? So, paano ba pagka may gustong may mag-explore sa atin? Say, for example, international oil companies gustong mag-explore sa Philippines. Ano ba yung mga legal and regulatory guide na existing ng Philippine law? Discuss natin siya. Okay, first, define muna natin ano yung characteristic of oil and gas. Bakit siya as valuable as gold? Bakit sobrang valuable, no, ang oil and gas? Kasi siya ay concealed. Ibig sabihin, oil and gas is very difficult and expensive to find. Like gold, no? Kaya nga ang term for bitumen, for crude oil is black gold. Kasi it's as expensive as and rare as gold. Kasi challenge yung paghahanap sa kanya. Ano? So, yun. Other is no guaranteed success because of geological risk. Um, hindi naman palaging 100%. Although advanced na yung mga technologies na ginagamit natin ngayon, nalilesen na yung probability o yung percent error. Um, but sometimes, no, may mga challenges o problems pa rin tayo na-encounter na first time lang natin na-encounter. Ano? That's why no guaranteed success. Next, subject to price volatility which we don't have control. No? Yung price risk. Next ay yung long lead time between discovery and production. Ibig sabihin nun, kasi from the time na meron kang stage ng prospecting, exploration, drilling, well planning, doon na lahat papasok. Development stage, saka pa yung production. Drilling ulit and then production stage. Minimum years is mabilis na yung 5 years of all those stages. Yun, kaya isa sa challenge. Kaya palagi in advance tayong nagpa-plan. Paano na yung susunod? Pag nag-deplete to, saan na tayo? So yun. So it is owned and controlled by the state. Kagaya ng pagka tayo sa mga pag-aari natin. Kung ano yung nasa sakop ng teritoryo natin. Excuse me. Atin yun. So yun lang naman sinasabi din. Okay. Basic state options. National Oil Company. Involvement of IOCs or international oil companies. So if IOCs are involved, so ano yung mga legal arrangements yung ginagawa natin? So again, NOC, National Oil Company, IOC, International Oil Company. Of course, first, alamin muna natin, ano ba yung gusto ng government? Siyempre, may kanya-kanya tayong gustong maging benefit. Of course, dahil, say for example, in the case dito sa Philippines, gusto natin kung may oil and gas na makita dito, tayo ang solely na may control nun. Control of its hydrocarbons. Ano pa? Investment to allow extraction. So tayo, sa Philippines, the to allow extraction of our reserve from international oil companies. Gusto natin mag-invest sila sa Philippines. Bakit? Para kumita tayo. Siyempre, di ba? Okay. A fair and reliable share of the value generated. Dito na papasok yung contracts, agreements, product sharing agreements, and contracts. Di ako umabot sa Di ako umabot.
Or gusto mo ng burger?
Hinatian na lang ako ni sir. Ako na lang ba? May burger ka pa? Extra.
Ito lang. Meron ka na ng...
Kaya nga. Okay, maximum economic recovery of hydrocarbons, syempre. And domestic security of supply. Kung may international oil company na gusto natin mag-invest sa atin, dapat kaya din natin mag-provide on their needs. No? Or kung hindi, edi sa iba sila. No? So, kita, opportunity na yun sa atin para kumita. Pero kung hindi natin kaya, at least magso-source out o outsource sila sa labas. Okay. So, what on the side of international oil companies, ano naman yung gusto nila? Of course, access to reserves. Paano sila magkakaroon ng access to reserves? Diyan papasok yung license and tax. Licensing. No? Pagbibigyan natin ng license or permit sa kanila para maka-access sa ating oil and gas reserve. Ano pa? Production sharing agreement, contracts, service agreements. Ano? So every day of production without replacement, is it okay? Ano pa? Consequent imperative to explore, consequent need to, and of course, gusto ng IOCs ay stability. Bakit? So why does the IOC want stability? Because of risk. Although hindi mo matatanggal ang risk, but we can control the risk. Ano yung mga risk na yun? Geological risk, political, operational, price, and fiscal. Geological risk, uh, uh, so, okay. To lessen the geological risk, ano bang kailangan? Eh di, yung mga advancement of technologies. Ang nagpo-provide naman ito, kung hindi kaya ng NOC, yung mga IOCs, political. That's why kailangan namin o gusto ng mga IOC ng stability. Because of, syempre, lahat ng bansa may mga political issues. And kahit anong gawin ng kahit sinong business entity dito, palagi involved pa rin ang politics. Kahit naman saan may politics. Kahit sa kahit sa office, may office politics. Kahit saan may politics. No? Kasi, saan ka ba kumuha ng mga permits to run your business? Palagi sa government din naman. So, it involves politics. But, gusto nila, gusto ng IOCs ay to control the risk of them being, yung operation nila being stopped because of this risk, political risk. So, gusto nila stable. Ayun nila na madadamay sila in the event na magkaroon ng political issues na malaki. Others, operational, price which we don't have control, so sa market na lang, and fiscal risks. So may discuss natin yung mga fiscal risks. It involves yung mga agreements, contracts, yan, dyan papasok. Investments and durable. Okay. So risk exposure is long-term. Okay, so state options on the legal models. Is nasabi ko nila. Allowing access, we have to have license. Product sharing agreement, service contracts, and each may also involve a joint venture with the NOC. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng joint venture? Di partnership with the national and international oil company. So how is the decision made? Based on this table. So who has the title to mineral resources? So ito yung guide on paano malalaman kung sino ba yung ano to? Yung may right to mineral resource. Pero this is not I think applicable sa Philippines dahil hindi ko pa makita yung yung sinusunod natin sa Philippines. So babalikan ko kayo dito. Skip muna natin yan. So, sa licensing, licensing is an authorization to do something that would otherwise be unlawful. Petroleum usually reserved to the state. License therefore required to explore and exploit uh, oil reserve here in the Philippines. Collects revenue via royalty and taxation, and ownership in oil passes at the PSA. Ano naman sinasabi dito sa PSA? Product Sharing Agreement. So it is a risk contract in which contractor explores for oil and is only compensated in the event that commercial discovery is made. So, sa product sharing agreement, mostly covered niyan is yung monetary aspect ng project, no? Um, um, palagi ang nakasaad, ang nakalagay sa product sharing agreement from the time na meron ka ng production, dun ka pa lang i-compensate o bibigyan ng hati in terms of production ng international oil company. Depende din sa inyong agreement. At ano ba, cost reimbursed by initial tranche of produced oil. Profit oil then shared between state and contractor as per contract. And contractor usually also subject to tax on profits. So preconditions for investment or PSA. So dito, okay, large-scale direct foreign investment requires clear legal, regulatory, and fiscal regime. For exploration phase, uh, investors need a clear path to development and production after discovery. For development, investors require security for very large investment. So, sa Philippines, ang existing law natin for exploration ay, sino may alam? Yung Republic Act na yun. Republic Act 387 or yung Petroleum Act of 1949. Sino may tanda pa nito? Dapat na-discuss to sa OTP, no? Ayan. So, under the Philippines, ang existing law natin is yung Republic Act number 387 o yung Petroleum Act of 1949. It says here, is an act to promote the exploration, development, exploitation, and utilization of the petroleum resources of the Philippines, to encourage the conservation of such petroleum resources, to authorize the Secretary of Agriculture and Natural Resources to create an administration unit and a technical board in the Bureau of Mines, to appropriate funds therefore, and other purposes. Dito makikita natin ang detailed and specific definitions in every chapter. Sa kada article makikita nyo dito define definition of terms. Ano yung petroleum, ano yung crude oil, ano yung natural gas, ano yung government, state, permittee, person, barrel. Nandito. So ito ay ginawa pa noong 1949. Okay, so makikita din dito sa Article 3 yung state ownership, title to land, granting to petroleum rights, granting of concession, yan. So, basahin nyo to. Ha? Dapat alam nyo to. Uh, yan. Uh, napapansin nyo ba kung bakit sa Philippines, kukunti lang yung yung mga international oil companies gustong mag-explore dito. And sa mga kalapit countries natin, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, malalaki yung oil and gas companies nila. Tsaka marami silang projects. No? Pero sa Philippines, kukunti lang. Bakit? Because of this Republic Act, because of this Petroleum Act. Kasi ang mga international oil companies, ang sinasabi kasi din, pagka nag-explore sila dito, so mag-invest sila. Pag may nakita sila ng oil reserve, hati yung international oil company and the government ng Philippines. Wala silang nakita, magbabayad pa rin sila sa Philippines. No? But on the other side, sa Philippine government naman, tama lang din kasi pumunta sila dito, okay, nag-apply for permit, kailangan din mag-invest, okay, nag-start sila ng exploration, drilling, okay, na-exploit nila ang ating natural resources on say yung location where may prospected oil and gas reserve sila. So, kailangan talaga na magbayad. Ano? But, on their end, medyo, lugi, kumbaga. Kaya kukonti yung nag-explore dito sa Philippines. Although, may naririnig ka ng mga bagong oil and gas reserve na prospected here in the Philippines. So, bakit wala hanggang ngayon? Ang nag-explore noon. So, yun. Basahin niyo itong RA 387 Public Act, Petroleum Act of 1949. Okay, so what are the minimum conditions for investment? International oil companies, gusto nila meron, of course, promising geology. That's why they're conducting um, ano to, exploration, 3D modeling of what is underneath the geological structures, formation sa ilalim, security of tenure, competitive fiscal regime, fiscal and regulatory stability, diba? Foreign exchange retention, um, access to international arbitration, and physical security. Of course, pagka nagsistay sila dito, syempre kailangan nila ng security. Gusto nila yun. But they have to invest on it. And we can provide for it as state. Okay, joint venture. Ano naman yung joint venture? So, joint venture ito between the national and international oil companies. So, license is granted to joint venture like yung sa Malampaya, joint venture siya ng Shell, uh, exploration and ano nga isa? Chevron ba? Basta, joint venture din yun. Okay. National Oil Company will have obligation to continue to cost under PSA. NOC's interest, okay. So, state receives benefits via NOC's share of revenue or tax. Okay, service contracts. State contracts with commercial actors for provision of specific services. So, payment is made for those services and is not contingent on commercial discovery. Ito, sa service contract, ang sinasabi dito, yung lahat ng pinrovide nating service, say for example, sa international oil companies, IOCs, as service nila yun babayaran, hindi yung based sa agreement. Kung hindi siya based sa agreement, iba siya, iba yung service contract, iba yung production sharing agreement, no? Iba pa yung sa licensing and taxation, and allowing access to mineral rights. Okay. So this is matter, of course, it matters because economists tell us the state can achieve the same result in terms of ultimate value extracted. No? Okay, so ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. So comparison of models between license and tax, PSA, and service. So sa level of state control, potentially high. And sa PSA, ganun din. And service contract, high din. But ano naman yung makukuha ng mga IOCs o international oil companies dyan? Sa licensing and tax, net profit. Ano? Sa under PSA, yung cost of oil and gas. So, dito, more on monetary related siya. Ano? And sa service, of course, fee of service. Excuse me. So what are the factors to consider for IOC's investments? States' access to capital, states' ability to desire to take and absorb risk, states need to have control or at least to signal control, states' preference in relation to timing of receipts and strength of states' bargaining position. Okay. So ano dapat makikita natin under PSA? So, yung need to preserve the relationship between state actor and contractor over the long term. So, dito sa PSA, more on monetary related siya. May ibang contract pa tayo na tinatawag na relation contract. Relation contract wherein yung relation between or relationship yung relationship contract wherein hindi siya monetary based, ano, kumbaga doon integrity lang between the two parties. Okay, so what else? Recognition of the link between wider social considerations and a cooperative stance on the part of both parties. So ito yun, relational contract versus discrete contracts. So under relational contract, yun yun, more on relationship based between two parties. Ito, hindi siya walang covered na monetary aspect. Unlike sa PSA, discrete contracts. Okay. Diyan pa kayo? Usap ako?
Yes po, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Hihinga muna. Okay. So, do PSAs reflect relationality? Meron, but yun nga, sabi ko, PSA is more on monetary aspect. Yung agreement na makikita mo doon. Unlike sa relational contract na more on parang integrity-based siya between two parties. Ano? Okay. So, conclusions. So, whatever variability we may find in practice, it is not the case. Okay. So, yun. Sinasabi lang naman na in every investment, no, na involve ang international and national oil companies, palagi dapat merong agreement, may rules na sinusunod. So yung pinakita ko sa inyo, yung Republic Act 387, yung existing law natin sa Philippines. Please review nyo yun. So, para lang alam nyo, kasi as oil and gas engineers in the making, yun ang magiging basis ng lahat bago mag-proceed ng project. So, dapat aware kayo doon. Although, doon naman tayo focus sa extraction of oil and gas techniques, pero dahil engineers tayo. But of course, para hindi tayo maloko, ano? Dapat may alam. Okay. Tanong. Ba't muna pala ako? Hindi, yan yung truck attendance. Tawagin ko lang isa-isa para malaman kung wala. Kompleto ba kayo? Kompleto pala kayo. 46. 46. Meron ditong taga-ibang section na umattend natin. Wala. Okay. Sige, kompleto naman kayo. Hindi na ako magtatawad. Kasi 46 kayo. 47 kasama ako. Okay. Tanong, kung wala ng tanong, next week ulit. So, i-upload ko to. Lagi ko nakakalimutan. Jerome nagme-message. Sige. Load ko na ngayon. Wala nang tanong, pwede na kayong mag-leave. See you next week.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Bye-bye
Thank you
po.
po. Bye-bye
Thank you.
po.
Okay.